So by request and by sheer blind luck, because we had one of these as an open box in like new condition, I'm going to be having a look at the eVGA X58 4-way SLI classified motherboard. So this has support for Core i7 Extreme, Core i7. It is an X58 board. It is SLI and physics ready, and it's also Crossfire ready, but given that it's eVGA, they're not exactly going to talk about that. Okay, so the features list is long. I'm not going to say everything, but I'll go ahead and tell you some of the key stuff. Okay, so there's 10 SATA 2 3 gigabit per second ports. It has V-droop control. It has 100% solid state capacitors, which is what you'd expect on a premium board like this. Anodized black CPU socket with 3 times the amount of gold content. That's a pretty cool feature. It has a 10-phase digital PWM, and it has the Elite eVGA motherboard tuner software. And you can use up to 2 8-pin power connectors for this motherboard if you are taking your CPU to the extreme and you actually need that much power. So it comes in an enormous black box. Okay, so just for scale, okay, this is one of the times I'm going to pull this out. That is how big the box is compared to the size of a normal motherboard. Okay, so let's keeping that in mind. Let's continue to go forward from here. So let's open this guy up and have a look inside. So, okay, there's eVGA's warranty information. eVGA has a terrific warranty. They have a great reputation for that, so feel free to take advantage of that if you're buying an eVGA product. I love these. They include these with all of the motherboards that I've seen from them. A visual guide of the motherboard that shows you the basics, how to get it all set up to start with. It labels everything for you, and then on the back it gives you all of the pinouts for things like the front panel connectors. Okay, so if you need any help with any jumpers that are available on the particular board, they've spelled that all out for you. I think that's a terrific thing to include with the motherboard. It's a great little value add. Okay, here's their Ecp V2, which basically connects via one cable to your motherboard and then gives you all of that onboard stuff that you might need. So onboard power, clear CMOS, reset, a little post LED that gives you codes if there's any problems with the system, as well as, PCIe disable jumpers. So you can turn off some of the PCIe ports, it looks like, which I guess makes sense given there are an awful lot of them on this board. In here you will find 6 black SATA cables. Can you see those at all? Yeah, you can kind of see it. Okay, and then 1 rounded IDE cable, and then 3 Molex to 2 SATA adapters. Okay, so that's pretty nice. In here you will find a 3-way Sli bridge, because if you're buying a board like this, you had better be running 3-way or 4-way SLI. So this is a 4-way SLI bridge here. That means that with the eVGA GTX 295 classified, you can actually run 4 cards at a time on this board. Here is the cable for the little, whatever it's called, Ecp thing that has all of your onboard switches and whatnot. There's a standard SLI bridge. Okay, so this is a floppy bridge, so it means that you can plug the cards into a variety of connectors. You can decide which one you want to use. Here's your I/O shield. Okay, it's got that puffy stuff on the back of it. I'm not actually sure why that is, but a lot of the high-end ASUS boards and apparently eVGA boards have that. Alright, so let's get this motherboard. Oh no, there's more accessories. Okay, so that's got 2 USB and 1 FireWire port for the back of your case. And then finally, we have the motherboard user's manual, as well as a driver disc and a case badge. Ooh, that's nice. 3-way SLI case badge. Alright, and then there's a little note in here. You have just purchased an incredible piece of technology with 4-way SLI support, 10-phase digital PWM. In order to run 4-way SLI mode, you will need to have the hardware to support it. So you need the oh no, it just says it's a perfect match. It doesn't say you need that. Okay. Dedicated PCIe Molex connector, so make sure you plug that in. And this motherboard is designed for the extreme. It requires to be run in either a 10-slot PC chassis or an open-air chassis. If your chassis does not meet these requirements, please do not install this motherboard. Okay, so that's a pretty important note to have on there. So why don't we go ahead, close that up, and then I'm gonna close the box, because that gives us a good place to demo the board itself. Okay, so let's get this out of the baggie here. Oh, okay. You can see that this is on there pretty good. All right, motherboard coming out now. Look at that. So that is the classified 4-way SLI. I don't even know where to start with this thing. So why don't we start at the CPU socket like I normally do. So this is an LGA 1366 motherboard. Okay, so that means that you've got support, like I said before, for the Core i7 and Core i7 Extreme. You can see that the CPU socket itself is extremely shiny. Can you see the finger shot there? So that is one of the things that they've done. They're using a high quality LOT socket. Okay, you've got support for triple channel DDR3 memory as per the normal arrangement on an X58 motherboard. Your power connectors, and these are kind of unique, are in their ideal locations. You got your 24-pin power connector here, and then up here you have not one, but two 8-pin CPU power connectors. So check that out. I can't actually get that off. Okay, so you have two 8-pins up here on the top left of the board in their ideal locations. All right, then in terms of the chipset cooling, this is incredible because you can't actually run this many PCI Express slots off just an X58 chipset. So they've had to add, I believe it's one, but I guess it could be as many as two NF200 chips to this motherboard. So you can see that's why we've got this huge heatsink area, which actually is connected by a heat pipe or two. So you can see under here the heat pipes. Can you see those? Kind of down there. Yeah. So you got heat pipes connecting it to this fan, or this fin arrangement, okay, which is just enormous, and you can kind of see through that. And then a tiny little 40mm fan right here, making sure that it gets at least a little bit of airflow. So that's what's doing all of the chipset cooling on this motherboard. Okay, so why don't we keep on moving down? So here we've got, SATA ports. So we've got 8 SATA 2 ports here. Then we have, this is terrific because all of the onboard power reset, clear CMOS, all of that stuff is on the motherboard. So this connector way over here to run the little EV whatever thing that it's called is actually just an alternate one, just in case you've got a bunch of video cards installed, which covers all of this stuff, and you need access to it. That's great. So you've got 7 PCI Express 16X slots, and they're actually further down on the motherboard than they would be on a normal board. So I'm going to pull out that other board here for a second again, and I'm going to show you, just for scale, how long this motherboard is compared to a typical ATX board. So if cameraman, can you try and get like a top-down view? You can see it's actually one slot too long versus what a normal board would be. So that's pretty cool. Besides that, it's actually wider than a normal spec ATX board by about a couple centimeters there. So if you look over on the right-hand side, you can see this board is just huge. So that means besides being longer, your case is going to have a little bit of extra room on the side, on the right-hand edge of the board, to make room for this extra strip here. Okay, so why don't we keep on moving here? There's an onboard speaker. Right, here's the... Sorry about that, my memory card ran out again. So right here we have the Molex connector. So if you're actually plugging in all those graphics cards, this is a supplementary power connector to make sure that they're all getting enough juice to run properly. All right, so I think we're almost done here, but the last thing we want to look at is the 10-phase digital PWM that they've installed on this motherboard. So you can see under there, that's where all of the power regulation stuff is going on. All right, and then let's move around. Actually, one thing that would be important to people buying a board like this is, you see how bare the CPU socket is? It's perfect for insulating all around the CPU socket if you're going to be running like sub-zero cooling on it or anything like that. Okay, so why don't we move around, have a quick look at the back of the board, and then I think we're pretty much done. We've got one PS2 port here for a keyboard. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 USB 2.0 ports. We've got a clear CMOS button, and then, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I don't know what this is for. Maybe someone can leave it in the comments, and then I'll make an annotation. Okay, so then we've got FireWire, eSATA, 2 gigabit Ethernet, and 7.1 audio. So thank you for checking out my quick unboxing and first look at the eVGA classified 4-way SLI motherboard.